Right now, you are a middle manager and you're sitting in the most uncomfortable chair in the corporate hierarchy. The executive board have just handed down a draconian, surveillance-heavy return to office RTO mandate for 2026. They have told you to enforce the badge swiping, monitor desk time, and drag your high-performing engineers, marketers, and analysts back into the noisy, fluorescent-lit cubicle farm. You know the mandate is mathematically stupid. You know your team produces 30% more output when they are fully remote. But you feel powerless. You think your job is simply to enforce the executive will. You're completely miscalculating your own leverage. Before I break down the exact uncompromising tactical blueprint for the middle manager strike, a strategy to secretly weaponize administrative friction, shield your team from corporate surveillance, and force the C-suite to abandon their RTO mandates, hit the subscribe button and press the notification bell. I post daily videos showing you exactly how to navigate the global labor market using cold, hard engineering logic. You do not want to miss these execution protocols. The era of the middle manager as a passive corporate enforcer is over. Today, we are going to redefine your role. You are no longer the whip. You are the shield. I'm going to show you how to use tactical silence, synchronized output freezes, and decentralized workflows to make it structurally impossible for the executive suite to force your team back into the office. Grab a notebook. It is time to stop managing the mandate and start breaking the system. Welcome back. I'm Dr. HR. To understand why my approach to the corporate leverage is aggressively different from the standard MBA playbook, you have to understand my underlying architecture. I hold a PhD in Human Resources, a master's from prestigious Tata Institute of Social Sciences TSS in Mumbai, and a bachelor's in computer engineering. I do not look at the corporate hierarchies as families. I look at them as fluid networks of leverages and choke points. Operating on the ground here in Dubai since 2010, consulting for apex corporate entities, I have mapped exactly where is the true power in the organizations reside. The executives have the title, but the middle manager controls the actual execution. Without the middle manager translating the strategy into action, the corporations mathematically halts. Let us deconstruct the 5 phases of the middle manager strike: the architecture of the leverage, tactical silence, synchronized output freezes, decentralized decision-making, and insulating the team. Phase 1. The architecture of the middle management leverage. We must first diagnose the exact power dynamics of 2026 corporate landscape. The executives are currently panicking. They are locked into a massive 10-year commercial real estate leases in expensive financial district. To justify this sunk cost, they have deployed unprecedented surveillance technology, tracking IP addresses, keystrokes, and physical badging. But surveillance is useless without the enforcement. The CEO cannot personally monitor 5,000 employees. They rely entirely on you, the middle managers, to be the enforcers. This is your choke point. The operational knowledge of the company is heavily siloed in mid-level roles. The C-suite does not actually know how the complex AWS cloud migration works or how the new marketing algorithms is coded. Only your individual contributors know that, and only you know how to manage those contributors. You must execute a violent mindset shift. You are not a corporate enforcer paid to police adult professionals. You are a tactical shield. Your job is to absorb the executive noise and protect the deep work environment of your team. If you enforce a rigid RTO mandate, your best people will quit. Your metrics will collapse and you will be fired for missing targets. By refusing to enforce the mandate, you are actually protecting the company's bottom line, even if the CEO is too blind to see it. Phase 2. The tactical silence and administrative friction. If you openly rebel and send a fiery email to the CEO saying, "We refuse to come back," you will be terminated for insubordination. We do not execute open rebellion. We execute tactical silence. When the VP of HR sends you the spreadsheet of the employees who have missed their 3 days a week office quota and demand you put them on a performance improvement plan, the PIP, you deploy the freeze. You do not say no. You simply delay the translation of the order into actionable task. I am currently reviewing the data to ensure it aligns with our Q3 sprint deliverable. I need to cross-reference these batch swipes with the off-site client meeting my team was attending. I will schedule one-on-ones next month once our current deployment is shipped. You are utilizing bureaucratic inertia as a weapon. You are creating a massive administrative buffer zone that protects your individual contributors from physical tracking. Furthermore, you use intentional communication gaps. When the executive forces an unnecessary in-person culture-building meetings, you ensure that the actual work halt during that time. You clearly document the 3 hours spent commuting and sitting in a conference room resulted in a missed digital deadline. You mathematically prove that forced physical presence disrupts the flow of digital-first workflows. You make the enforcement of the rule more painful and exhausting for the executive that's simply ignoring the rule. Phase 3. Synchronized Output Freezes. Administrative friction is powerful, but to truly break the RTO mandate, you must manipulate the one metric the C-suite actually cares about: revenue execution. This requires coordination. You must form an alliance with your peer managers across different departments. When the company rolls out a new physical surveillance tool, like mandatory webcam tracking or strict badge-in quotas, you and your peer managers coordinate a synchronized output freeze. You do not sabotage the company. You simply strictly adhere to the new rules at the expense of efficiency. If the rule says everyone must be at their desk from 9 to 5, then your team strictly logs off exactly at 5 p.m. No evening emails, no weekend crisis management, no remote server patches at 2 a.m. You establish a shadow KPI system. The executives are measuring physical presence, you are measuring the corresponding dip in overall productivity. Within 3 weeks, the software deployment is delayed, the marketing campaign misses its launch window, and the client response times double. When the executives demand an explanation for the slowdown, you present the data. You show the exact correlation. When we prioritize physical badge-ins and commuting, our deployment velocity dropped by 22%. My team is exhausted by the commute and strict hours, so they are no longer providing the discretionary out-of-hours effort that drove our previous success. You force the executive to look at the math. You must choose between their real estate ego and the company's actual revenue. Phase 4. Securing decentralized decision-making. While you are managing the executive optics, you must simultaneously architect an operational environment that makes the physical office entirely irrelevant. You execute the decentralized decision-making. If your team's workflow relies on physical whiteboards, impromptu hallway chats, and localized corporate server, the executives have leverage to drag you back. You must eradicate these dependencies. You transition all critical project data, architecture diagrams, and approval workflows into encrypted, decentralized digital platform like advanced Notion workspaces, Jira, or asynchronous video tools like Loom. You build a system that functions flawlessly whether the employee is in cubicle in Dubai or a villa in Bali. You formalize a team-level pact. You agree internally that your team will politely decline participation in arbitrary pizza parties or office culture events, citing urgent, high-value digital deliverable. You are creating a closed-loop feedback system. You trade absolute elite, high-quality, asynchronous performance for permanent work-from-home autonomy. You make your team so devastatingly effective in the digital space that bringing them into the physical space become a recognized operational liability. Phase 5. Insulating the team for the long game. The final phase of the strike is securing the fort. You must insulate your team for the long game. You must build a defensive parameter that prevents the executive suite or the HR from accessing direct, granular performance metric without your mediation. If HR can see every keystroke your developers make, they can bypass you. You must act as a sole interpreter of your team's data. You present the final polished output to the executive, but you obscure the specific hours and locations in which that output was generated. You then transform this administrative friction into high-stakes bargaining chip. During quarterly budget and resource allocation meeting, when the VP asks for a 15% increase in output, you lay your cards on the table. I can guarantee a 20% increase in the output, and I will personally ensure we beat the Q4 deadline. But to execute this, I require absolute authority over my team's geographical deployment. I need permanent, contractually guaranteed remote statuses for my top 5 engineers. If I'm forced to spend my bandwidth policing their badge swipes, we will miss the target. You're no longer asking for permission, you're establishing a new standard of operational autonomy. You are making return to office orders impossible to enforce without triggering the total collapse of the department's execution capability. Look closely at the mechanics of the corporate hierarchy. The executive issues the order, but the middle manager controls the gravity. If the middle management layer refuses to enforce a mandate, the mandate does not exist. It is just words on a PowerPoint slide. Stop policing your top performers to appease the ego of the CEO, who is stressed about a commercial lease. Become the shield, deploy tactical silence, weaponize administrative friction, build a flawless, decentralized digital workflow, and force the C-suite to realize that your team's autonomy is the most profitable asset on their balance sheet. You are the choke point. Use your leverage, process the data, execute the strategy, and I'll see you at the